Technology is poised to create a quantum leap in the bell curve of human ability. It's called AHIT, Ability and Habit Improving Technology. And it's designed to allow people to program themselves with healthy habits that cause them to go out and identify all of their levels of ability that are determining the quality of their life, right? Health, happiness, freedom, love, right? They identify them. And then there's levels of ability that they're constantly identifying, a higher level of ability, and then practicing that, actually programming themselves with the different beliefs and habits of thought and postures and skills of movement that cause them to get better. It causes the quality of their life to go up. But more than that, it's going to lead to a more functioning consciousness. We want technology to strengthen the mind to the point where the mindless self-talk that consumes quite a bit of our time today in this world to be almost eliminated. Maybe 2/3 of it will be totally gone. And where there was mindless self-talk, a purpose will be brought into their self-talk through conditioning of the mind in the practice module, which is a programming session, which has the user generate and control as much energy as they can, thinking about time and space. That's the center, that's the hub. So let's move forward. So, by the way, this product will reach everybody on the planet, from somebody that's mentally struggling. You could give them a diagnosis name of bipolar or schizophrenic, or it's all kinds of names that confuse people. We're just going to let them know their thoughts are malfunctioning. And so we're going to teach them how to and let them condition their mind to start being aware and adapting. But also at another spectrum, the most talented CEO or professional athlete or an artist would be practicing their execution of their skills at the highest level to polish it up in the practice module. And that cycling of that key information to allow them to perform at the highest level when it really matters in their arena of performance, then that practice will allow them to get better and better and better when it counts in their life through focused practice, where this technology will be able to really laser in on specific areas of a day, of a task, changing beliefs, changing habits, increasing levels of ability. So, and everybody in between, it's going to help salespeople, teachers, lawyers, everybody, writers, creative people, laborers, everybody will be able to evolve their consciousness to not meander about mindlessly. Now, the most important job on the planet, I humbly say, is parents, moms and dads, and sometimes moms without dads or vice versa. And that job will be incredibly enhanced who bring this into their home and have their children, teenagers and younger, adolescents, practice to condition their mind to be aware of thoughts, identify their thoughts, and look for a higher level of ability to replace it. And as their mental abilities develop, that happens. So that's a very powerful thing that will allow. I'll let you. So many of us grew up with dysfunctional settings, where one of our parents struggled, and so we got the wrath of their dysfunction. And this technology, when it's consumed by the parent for long enough, those unknowingly hostile expressions that are abusive and create distress and distraction for the rest of your life could be eliminated, or at least most of it, right? And which would raise the health of people, let alone making us smarter and more effective. So it's amazing to think what could happen if this technology was used for generations. If what if the senior citizens of the world, let's say from 85 to 105 or whatever that is, and then you got the next level like me, 65 to 85, and then less and less. What if every generation grew up on this? And what if the parents of the seniors today, what if their parents grew up on it, and so did their grandparents? And like maybe the generation before that was the first one, like me or you, that would be interacting with the technology, in an unformed, undeveloped state, which we can get there pretty high with. I've spent a lot of time cooking this baby. So, but think about what the planet would be like if, you know, the children of today or the teenagers and 20-year-olds, you know, their parents, grandparents, and great grandparents, and great great grandparents all had been generating, controlling more energy inside their brain since birth. Might be some significantly talented young people walking the earth. That's the big picture of this technology. And it's a huge profit. I mean, it's a huge profit. If there's 7 billion people, we should be able to get to 1 billion people for sure, maybe 2 or 3 billion if we're the dominant player uh, in this arena. And, $10 a month subscription. Eeks, we can make some, certainly get to 1 trillion a year, because this product is a upsell to, it creates an upsell opportunity for selling other products because we'll have blessed their life so much. So, so how does it work? I mean, how does AHIT work? So when I wrote the patent in 2012, finished in 2013, I was not the first to channel this information. Now, I was the first self-educated, I don't want to say uneducated, but self-educated individual. The other two groups that were compared by the patent officer to me, that mine was very similar to, very similar, almost identical, almost, right? But they all had doctorates in mental health. 3 doctors from Harvard Medical School and another gentleman, a psychotherapist, all doctrines. Me, self-taught. And I believe humbly that fact is what makes this one better than theirs, because I wasn't applying, diagnosis and proven therapies, although proven therapies we're going to want to use, but in a different way. And so I was just dreaming, exploring. There was no limitation. And that's why I believe allowing us to realize a higher level of being as right out the gate, developing the strength of the mind is what makes this product superior to theirs. So, but I love them, and I would love to have them teach me because they know so much. It's wonderful to hear this kind of stuff. So, now, in creating this product too, I just want to say that I really just spent thousands of hours cooking on, finding what it was, what is and what's happening. And as a result, simplifying is how you increase the performance of any system, right? And so this is a wonderful little lesson, but there's key elements of AHIT doctrine or dogma that teaches people to understand, that allows the high performance library to function in a very specific manner based on the level of ability, key areas of life and even non-key areas, because it'll just function in the back end. Where it takes this into account. Basically, need and desire, fulfilling is what creates health and happiness. A task must be completed to fulfill a need or desire, and it requires ability to fulfill a need or desire. So that key point is what I came up with a definition. I believe that's pretty cool. I think it'd be great if science adopted it. But 2 elements to ability. One is the ability to move, and the other is the ability to move effectively. So to move, I believe the only all-encompassing 3 is the strength to move or be still in time and space, speed to move, ability to move fast if you need to time and space, and then endurance to keep moving in time and space, right? Notice I didn't say adapting, I just said time and space. So the ability to adapt takes the grace, cool word, huh, of knowledge of time and space as needed to adapt to what? Complete task to fulfill need and desire. Right? And skill, the ability to move through that time and space as needed to adapt. And then wisdom is the ability to choose well. So again, simplifying in sets of 3. So when somebody wants to choose well, they want to make sure that they don't neglect anything in their life. So this design, identifies that there's both need and desire in the 3 areas of life, and you could squeeze in 4 or 5 more areas. This is for sure, but the key areas that this one uses, and we could add more areas. But taking care of the body, the self, the mind, and the spirit, taking care of your relationship with people, and take care of how you fit in with the economy. Will take care of your money and your relationship with people and yourself. A lot of life is covered right there, and the pattern of using ability to do it is what's empowering. So when you have these very definitive aspects of all ability, some abilities, that you're going to fully need that requires a little more strength there than skill. There's not much skill involved. It's just getting it done, right? And, this one's a big skill thing, and you need strength, sure, and some speed, but skill is the, well, maybe you need more knowledge. And those things are obvious as you watch the high performance training videos, which are training videos for human beings to engage life, to fulfill need and desire, right? And that's what these animations look like. Now, the animation high performance library, real quickly, just to take a quick look, I called it the conscious dashboard. Is you see, they got these other elements that we'll cover in a moment, but watching an animated video of the person watching, and the animated character will make them the same age and gender and height and so forth. And so they'll be watching this video and they'll be able to imagine the key person that the training video is focused at empowering with a higher level of ability looks like them, right? And they watch that. And as they turn the level of ability up, I believe something very powerful is going to happen. As they're skipping around, to different areas of life, and they're looking at both interacting with just the body, and they're interacting with the maybe the economy or another person. And all of a sudden they turn, let's say they have an average level of ability at a certain time, right? And they turn it up. There's going to be, I believe, a consistent pattern of change when we, leave the primitive average level of ability and we engage the highest level of ability of doing anything in life. That consistent posture and pattern and clarity of mind and strength of mind and flow and embracing factual data, and not having fear and negative thoughts. That pattern, I believe, will turn the lights on for our users. People, when they see that and they look at all three areas of life and they turn this knob up, I think that's going to be significant. So that's the high performance library. Now, use another form here I'm going to cover in just a moment, but that aspect of the high performance library is very important. So as we the knowledge part touches on the high performance library. Excuse me, I got lost a moment. So when we teach them to understand time and space, they'll be watching animated videos of somebody changing their level of ability, right? And that's a big part of understanding time and space as a human being, to bring scientific fact to it, right? On this page here, I showed you, this is critical. We're going to teach physics, just principles, right? Well, they certainly want to hear about all the cool cats in history, but what we're going to teach them is principles. So 3 laws of motion, gravity versus entropy, and then the metabolic process versus the photosynthesis process to understand the generation of life. And from that basis, the physics will define very clearly the predictable cause and effect cycles of thought that determine the predictable cause and effect behaviors of the individual. So they observe the cycles inside the biology, and they observe the biology movement inside of social and economic habitats. For me, that's the basis to create a more concise, simplified way. I mean, it's a little complex, but we're trying to get them to interpret life always the same way. Don't get confused with diagnosis and stuff. Just, you're either doing it or you're not, right? You're either healthy and happy or you've been neglecting something. And it's very interesting that this neglecting of need and desire creates a scale of measuring how long you neglect a specific need and desire of importance, creates a huge amount of pain that's going to take time to undo. And the less time you ignore a need or desire, the less the pain. And that's a very powerful, the system that this uses, ability and the level of ability and need and desire, being a biological living organism, everything's measurable. And when they start looking at their life, they start applying scientific fact, which is going to empower them with understanding. So that's the knowledge, and with a touch of the high performance. But then awareness, we want to accelerate awareness. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to have them literally go out and identify all the habits of thought they have during the week, right? It's quite a bit of work, but it's grouped, it's grouped in the sets, right? The groups of the sets of this, right? So we'll just be organizing everything in sets of three and happening in one set of three to form a consistent basis, right? And then they'll fill out these core beliefs that when they put them all together and they look at them on a piece of paper like this, they'll feel whole. And when they think about themselves in that area of their life, because they'll have covered all the relevant stuff now, and we'll ask the questions that allow them to find them. Sometimes they still not be able to find them, and that's where the sixth element of journal comes into play. And they capture it during the week, when they're living their life. They may catch something and they'll put it in their smartphone. They'll get loaded up into to their page. They'll be able to compare it with higher levels, and they create that accelerated version of awareness because they're identifying all the habits of thought and they're interpreting it in a very simplistic way, right? In a very consistent way. The same way you take care of your body is the way you take care of your finances and the way you take care of your relationship. That consistency is going to accelerate enlightenment, to understand life, to have a depth and an expansive understanding that's pretty comprehensive, I believe. So this page will probably become color graded by level of thought required to complete a task. I'm going to just cover this real quickly. This is a very important form. This is the analysis of a single habit, a habit of thought that one thinks over and over during the week, right? And so they analyze it in three simple ways. Again, three is a very powerful number. They figure out if the thought is positive, neutral, or negative. Then they determine if it's functioning in the moment to make you happy. Obviously, if it's negative, it's not functioning, right? And then the purpose is powerful and it's connected with an emotion. So if somebody's explaining something negative about themselves, body, relationship, money, that's the purpose of those words that are thoughts that are happening to the person, during their life. And they're thinking, okay, I'm at work and I'm thinking this thought. Well, they know that thought is explaining the negative reality. Now, if it's a positive reality, they're praising it, right? They're explaining it, but they're praising it. Hey, this is great. And these are the thoughts of the untrained mind that, cycles through the realities of one life. And when we think about the negative things in our life, we're reinforcing in that moment. That's a very powerful lesson of AHIT. So when they start to analyze each habit of thought in a very consistent way, these three things, they connect it to the behavior, the same three ways, right? Same three ways. That consistent basis of behavior and thought becomes universally interpreted, which is really going to make it powerful, I believe, to create an understanding. Now, a very huge thing I came up with at the end, which is really cool. Each task in their week, right? I mean, the task in their week, they're going to identify when it's difficult and takes a lot of their energy and consciousness, and other times when it's not. And so when they identify the parts of the week where there's not very taxing on them, those are the moments that you want to bring mindful purpose to the extra thoughts that are flowing beyond what you're doing. Part of the exercise would be just present and do what you're doing with all of your consciousness, even though it's a very minimally required test, but that's not practical. You want to engage the flow state, which we're going to teach in detail. The work that Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has done is amazing. The flow state's been around for thousands of years, but he's done he's gathered data, studied, and which is powerful. And we're going to implement that to this program because the flow state is an optimum state of consciousness. We're going to go out and grab all of the most cutting edge stuff and bring it in here. And we have our little unique stuff here. But the flow state is what we'll accomplish. So we'll bring into it. And of course, there's other stages when you're just processing besides the flow state. The flow state, you get lost in the moment, conscious scanning of what's next to be aware. That's a different process. We want to identify the key elements of that to be optimal, and that'll be loaded into the high performance library. But these assessments of an individual moment of life as a habit that fits in to the whole of one's life during the week, that is a very powerful thing that the technology is going to bring. And these are some of the aspects of the designs that lead the user to interpret their life, the time and space of their life, effectively with a functional purpose. How you get better at life. It's always the purpose, right? And so This is the knowledge part. We covered the knowledge part. That last one was knowledge, along with the awareness, gathering all the thoughts to accelerate it rather than just meditating and waiting. And we've got the high performance, which is an example to imitate. This is the information part of the seven. We'll cover just look out for the world and see what's possible and study it and then practice it in the performance module. But the second three, if we have two sets of three here, excluding number seven, is the actual practice. And the actual practice is what's going to change people's lives. It's not the information. The information will change some, but the big thing that's going to change it is the actual thinking of thoughts that are positive that apply to the daily life. Today, coming up, Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, I'm going to imagine myself being this way that I need to be for me to change this part of my life. They're literally just thinking the thoughts. Now, how they think them in the high performance library is very, very powerful. And this is the hub, so I'm going to talk about this for a moment. The key, I think, an amazing breakthrough, humbly, I get these breakthroughs all the time. I thought about this thing thousands of hours. I don't know if I'm up at 8, 9, 10, 12,000 hours. I've just spent a bunch of time on it. Wish I'd have been selling it, but hey, it wouldn't have been this developed. So anyway, if I had a good sales team, it would have been. But anyway, so the practice is important. The practice is going to use something called alternating display or boosters and guides for imagination. Boosters and guides for imagination, and it's a powerful concept in the practice module. So if you imagine somebody's selected a video of content, let's say that they've identified. Say they go down to this form right here. I tell you, there might be a few designs that I haven't made yet, but I think I've made more than 3/4 of them. There's still some more to make though, putting these together. But here's an example that they would do before they start a practice session. Otherwise, it's on the website right now. And so they would identify what they want, right? And then they would identify images. Could be a video, could be a still image, could be an image of a life situation, car, healthy person, smiling, or it could be a symbol, maybe if they're a symbol, which is powerful. And then they have the positive affirmations that they're going to cycle. They'll either hear them in an audio version or they'll read them. Possibly reading them is very powerful. Maybe they'd alternate back and forth. Whatever's the best way, we want to test. And just as Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has brought in data to the flow state, we want to bring data to the human experience to optimize human consciousness as fast as we can, so we can be a more powerful being and explore the universe. So, as well as the affirmations in the virtual reality practice environment, which I'm going to go into a little more detail in a moment, then the augmented reality is after they get done with their practice session, then they're going to wear some smart glasses and just have small displays in the peripheral in transparent form, most likely, and we'll have to change the transparency, the color, the shape, or the location, because we want to make sure it doesn't get ignored as a part of the system, right? You ignore the fence after a while or the picture on the wall, right? We need to make them change effectively to have the person continue to be reminded to engage the optimum state of consciousness and being that is possible for them on that day. And that's what the augmented reality does. And these are the mantras that would display in the smart glasses. So now when you see this information, then you want to think about the boosters and the guides. So this information, whether it be video or sound, probably brainwave sounds or pleasant music, also could be, rah-rah music, and we'll experiment with that. But then as they're thinking the thoughts and seeing the images, we want to. This is where the opportunity for a monopoly exists, I believe, and that's to make the algorithm of the boosters and the guides to be the best. Now, of course, they go in and practice, they're going to be able to see it, but whatever. Anyway, but when we feed consciousness effectively, perfectly, we're going to cause the imagination to generate more sensory-rich detail that's relevant to time and space, that's relevant to the individual's life, right? only do they think about that more, but they also expand and think of time and space more. Everybody wants to do the scientific researches of all the relevant experiences that apply to daily life. So the practice module will do that, but also to generate information of being healthy, making difficult choices, and enjoying the rewards of their discipline. So that display, there's a formula I came up with, and this is back in 12 or 13. It might have been 13 at the end, and that's ICTEET, and that's 3 elements of an individual period of practice. And so intensity and clarity is the amount and the clarity of the content of thought. And then you have the content of the thought, which is the thought and emotions that are happening inside the body during the practice session, right? And then how much time, enough time, is practiced. And that's a formula: intensity and clarity of details, what is the content and the emotion, and then how long does it happen. That 3-aspect measurement, we can create prescriptions of, you want to lose weight, think this thought. Oh, you're a little bit older, you'll need to think this much thought. You're younger, this much thought. Right? You want to improve a relationship with somebody, you need people skills, you're going to need to practice this long. Based upon your current reality, you're going to practice a little more, a little less. So this technology will become, not only to raise the bell curve, but it'll also become a medicinal type thing. That somebody's in pain, it can change their life, knowing that they're going to fit relatively closely to other people that have been where they were, and they practiced the positive thoughts in sessions and then brought it out into their world with virtual reality for full immersion in these desired thoughts that they have. That's what's going to be really powerful for them to generate and control more energy, cycle it in the practice sessions. And last thing, the key to make this thing really, really powerful is to make the algorithm, to make the practice session a positive emotion experience, because people will want to engage positive emotion. So, we want to make it almost addictive, right? Like YouTube can be, right? But we want to make it so pleasant that people want to do it. Now, the key, though, is what they're going to be practicing is going to empower them. If you choose well, of course, and hopefully we're going to give them just the good stuff, whatever. Anyway, it's going to program them to be responsible, be effective in their life. So that's what the hub, the practice module, does. And when we talk about the last 2 elements very quickly, is schedule and monitor. You schedule it, and then you monitor it. Now, we're going to create the training of the practice module. We're going to teach them step by step sequentially to become as good as they possibly can at imagining time and space. So that training will come sequentially at them. So they start small and they build up. Before you know it, they'll be imagining being on the sun and here on planet Earth at the same time. That would be a fun one, right? Maybe here, the moon, and there, right? Maybe somewhere in the middle, random. But whatever amazing things are possible to think, we want to organize them relative to how they apply to daily life, and then practice them, and then follow it up with an experience in their life that is empowered by that exercise of the imagination, like exercising the body. That movement of time and space applies to life. We can strengthen that part of applying to life by imagining something out there, and finding those connections is going to be so cool. I so look forward to working on this. What I just said is crazy interesting to me. All right, so the monitor helps us accelerate developing the imagination, and then reminder I already talked about, journal I already talked about. So that's the invention. I tried to make it 20 minutes, but I'm a little over 30. I hope this is a positive for you. I hope you can see that this is a significant opportunity for profit. Significant. I believe we can get to 1 million people in a year. I can sell it if we can get it built. I can sell this thing like crazy. I can sell it to everybody. I can sell it to the CEO. I can sell it to the person in pain. I can sell it to the mom or the dad. I can sell it to a carpenter, a lawyer, a realtor. I can sell it to anybody because it's so simple and it's so powerful. So then we need to make it work, right? And so if we can get it to make it work, we could 100 million, 120 million in a year. I believe we can get to a billion in less than 5 years. That's 10 billion a month. But this product is going to be an end to sell other products. So the natural thing to do with this product is to then to maximize our profits. And of course, the impact on these people will sell them related health products, nutrition, exercise, and clothing, and maybe stuff, tools around the house. So we sell them these other things as an upsell because we bless their life. So that's the product. Hope you love it. Love to get to work on it with a magnificent team of world-class talent. And it'd be heck of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care.